Should you have to dial 911 in a time of need, the thought of how much it costs to maintain that service is probably the last thing you're thinking about. The fact is, it costs money to maintain the system, which originated in the state of Alabama back in 1968. The House Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness Committee recently held an informational meeting to discuss a rewrite of Pennsylvania's 911 Emergency Telephone Act. State Representative Will Tallman from the 193rd Legislative District is a member of the committee and joins us to talk briefly about what was discussed. And Representative, I say briefly because there are so many aspects to this particular issue. Let's start with why a rewrite of the law is needed.
Well, we have a couple issues. First of all, the current funding mechanism expired last June 30th, and we essentially did what in the federal government is called a CR, a continuing resolution, to keep the funding at the same point as what it was when June 30th of 2014 occurred. And so that only had a one-year extension, so we have to get something done by June 30th of 2015.
So now the time has come due here, and let's talk under current law, how is 911 funded?
911 funding is done through three different mechanisms. One is our typical landlines, and then our cell phones, and the voice over internet protocol. And those are the three major ways that 911 is funded by our county, or funded to our counties.
Now, I'm sure a number of people who are watching may have even already dropped their landline or are considering doing so, and obviously that is going to impact the funding, is it not?
Yes, and we have seen a significant drop-off of over 40% across the Commonwealth of landlines, and so what has happened in Adams County, because of it's $1.25 per landline, because of that drop-off this past year, Adams County had to put $400,000 of general fund money to keep the 911 system running, and Cumberland County did slightly over $2 million to keep their 911 system running. So that general fund money is property tax money, essentially. And so we're using that money, and that was never the intent on how to fund 911.
Now, people are going to be questioning why property taxes come into play here, but the obvious answer is, what other sources of revenue do they have?
Yeah, the county is largely dependent on the property tax, so that's how that, and since the money's coming out of the general fund of the counties.
Now, finally, could you explain some of the basics of the proposal as it's currently written?
Okay, this is just a proposal, so if anybody wants to weigh in, you're welcome to. Yeah, you're going to have my contact information here shortly. But right now, what the proposal is to go to $2 for every device that can connect to 911. So it would be $2 for landline, $2 for your cell phone. This is $2 per month, and $2 for your voice over internet. And then we capture some of the other stuff that's out there that's sort of new, and your tablets and some of those other things. And so the proposal is to raise that to $2. And I have concerns with that. When I was all over the Commonwealth, our committee was all over the Commonwealth last session having hearings on this. And we heard from many people on concerns with where the fee was going to be. And I expressed concerns when they were going to raise it to $1.75. And so now they're raising it to $2, and I'm calling that a 100% tax increase. So currently on my cell phone, I'm paying $1. They're going to raise it to $2. That's a 100% tax increase. And it's a fee, and it's buried there in your phone bill with all kinds of other fees, but it's there. We do have to change how we're funding 911 because the lost revenue from the landlines is occurring across the whole Commonwealth, and so we need to get that done. So what dollar amount it's going to be and how that money is going to be distributed is some of my biggest concerns with the current draft.
One other question I wanted to ask you about, you brought up in the hearing, PEMA is involved here as well, and your response to them being involved is that the counties themselves can operate or administrate 911, correct?
Yes. You know, this always was intended to be county's money, and we didn't, prior to 2000, we had almost zero, monies coming in because we changed the law in 2000 on the wireless and voice over internet protocol. And so all that money is going directly to the county, the landline money. So now what they want to do is put it together into one big ball, so to speak, let PEMA determine how the counties are going to get it through an advisory board. But my concern is the board is advisory. And my preference would be that's county money. It was always intended to go directly to the counties. They should get it.
If you have questions about this or any other legislative issue, we'll show you some contact numbers in a few seconds. This has been Legislative Report with your State Representative, Will Tallman.